Kalisto.
Yes!
A masked wrestler always brings the viewers to the edge of their seats with an unmatched sense of mystique surrounding them. The audience can't help but get captivated by a performer who dons a face mask. Not only does a face covering help build intrigue for a character, but it also provides a unique identity to a grappler, one that is not dependent on their face value. Instead, it is a special characteristic that attracts fans towards them. Over the years, WWE has seen many masked wrestlers of all shapes and sizes dazzle the squared circle with their performances, but which of them have spellbounded the WWE universe through their distinctive method of storytelling? So much so that every wrestling fan has tried to mimic them at some point. Join us now as we look at the 10 masked wrestlers from WWE whom everyone wants to mimic, starting with Rey Mysterio. A conversation about a wrestler who had aced the mask persona in WWE would be amiss if it did not feature Rey Mysterio at the top. The biggest little man has been an exemplary performer in the ring, but his flashy masks and equally attractive ring gear have a separate fan base. Over the years, he has been particularly famous among the younger fans who leave no opportunity to imitate their hero. No wonder the mask has performed exceptionally in merchandise sales, benefiting both the Stanford-based promotion and Mysterio himself. You'd wonder that with such massive success with a mask, the Master of 619 would never have had to part ways with it. Well, you'd be wrong if you think that Mysterio had to reveal his face while part of WCW in 1999. He teamed up with fellow Mexican legend Conan to take on the notorious duo of Kevin Nash and Scott Hall in a dreaded hair versus mask match, which his team lost. As a result, the WWE Hall of Famer had to do away with the mask. Mysterio spent the rest of his days in Turner Broadcasting-owned promotion without his beloved mask. Thankfully, when he debuted in WWE in 2002, he did so with his iconic face covering. While he did compete in hair versus mask matches over here as well, the one with CM Punk in 2010 immediately springs to mind, but he had never had to compromise with his Lucha Libre heritage over in WWE. The high-flying wrestler has been a part of WWE's roster for 2 decades now, and Mysterio isn't showing any signs of stopping anytime soon. Kane. From a crowd favorite to one of the most spine-chilling masked grapplers in WWE's storied history. When Kane interrupted in The Undertaker's In Your House Bad Blood match against Shawn Michaels, little did anyone know that he'd become the promotion's resident monster for years to come. This new gimmick saw him don a terrifying red and black full-face mask, never uttering a word and wearing a bodysuit. Giving the Demon's favorite son a fearsome identity helped create a unique aura around him. The kayfabe storyline of the dead man being his brother and responsible for his masked appearance due to burn scars might have been outlandish, but almost everyone was sold to the narrative. The global wrestling phenomenon utilized Kane as a wrecking machine, and his ungodly demeanor made it believable. To evolve, WWE first tweaked the Big Red Machine's mask design so that he could speak, and later in 2003 the promotion decided to do away with the mask altogether. Kane lost his Intercontinental Championship to Triple H, and to add insult to injury, he had to remove his mask because of the match stipulation. Fans watched in horror as the Demon's favorite son unveiled his face for the first time. It was revealed that he wore a wig with a mask to cover his bald head. While Kane's dominance of the roster continued even after the face reveal, it did take away some of the mystique of his disguised identity. Although the famous mask did return to his face in 2011, it had lost most of its distinctive qualities and did feel like a prop. Nevertheless, the sleepless nights that the 3-time world champion gave to his fans and adversaries alike will always be a part of wrestling folklore.
What's he doing?
Mankind. While Mick Foley portrayed 3 different personas during his time in WWE, his Mankind character has to be the most famous. The wrestler's gimmick, which featured a leather mask straight out of an asylum, gave him a deranged outlook. Foley sometimes wore shabby clothing while playing the bizarre character, other times he was dressed up in a white shirt, and as if the outfit couldn't have been weirder, he accompanied it with a sick tie. To top it all, the freak grappler brought a sock known as Mr. Socko that he wore on his arm when delivering his finisher capture a version of the Mandible Claw. The Deranged One, as he was aptly named, would go on to capture the WWE title thrice, each time under the Mankind moniker. It's no coincidence that the hardcore legend has had most of his successes in the Stanford-based promotion while portraying the demented character. Who would forget the first brawler room brawl that featured Mankind against his sworn enemy, The Undertaker, in 1996, or his eerie team-up with another peculiar character, Kane, to capture the WWE Tag Team Championship twice. It's safe to say that the leather mask of Foley has left a lasting impression on fans, which won't be forgotten anytime soon.
He's got him rolling. What's this? Count up.
Ultimo Dragon. This story's protagonist had humble origins in the land of the rising sun, Japan. When Ultimo Dragon, aka Yoshihiro Asai, arrived in Mexico's CMLL wrestling promotion, little was known about him. As the famous saying goes, when in Rome, do as the Romans, the Japanese performer embraced the lucha libre wrestling style in no time. Dragon's mask and attire were massively inspired by his Mexican surroundings. He arrived at the American shores in 1996 when he debuted in WCW. The high-flying athlete's stint with the promotion was quite fruitful, as he went on to win the company's Cruiserweight Championship and the World Television title twice. He also won the J Crown the same year, the crown composed of a whopping 8 title belts he held simultaneously. However, an arm injury and a subsequent failed surgery meant the Dragon was forced to retire from in-ring competitions prematurely. The resilient fighter never lost hope and revived his wrestling career by joining WWE in 2003. Although Dragon has finally realized his lifelong dream age had caught up by then, as he was way past his prime, hence it was no surprise when he parted ways with a Vince McMahon-run promotion after just 1 year. Asai returned to his homeland and has since competed in multiple promotions there. He currently performs in the Dragon Gate Company. Dragon will always be remembered for his unique blend of Japanese and Mexican styles in the ring and his eccentric moveset that featured hard-to-master maneuvers like the Asai Moonsault and Screwdriver. The Hurricane. Throughout its illustrious past, WWE has always been a home of wrestlers with peculiar gimmicks, none more so than the Hurricane, a superhero who wore a black and green mask, which he complemented by wearing a bodysuit and a cloak. His gimmick was that he possessed superhuman strength, which also included flying. Moreover, his over-the-top antiques kept the fans glued to their screens. He once clashed with The Rock in 2003 and even pinned a Great One after an interference by Stone Cold Steve Austin. The man behind the mask, Gregory Helms, continued to dazzle the audiences with his hilarious superhero mannerisms till 2005. Helms then reverted to being a regular performer for some years before again donning the superhero cape in 2008. Although he was released from WWE in 2010, he continued to perform as the Hurricane in the independent circuit. The former WCW grappler had brief stints in both TNA and AEW and is currently signed on a Legends deal with WWE.
Got to admire Canada for going right after the United States champion. I mean, but what is he?
Sin Cara. This one's a bit complex, as not one but two individuals portrayed the Sin Cara character on WWE programming. The first was former CMLL wrestler Luis Uribe, aka Mystico, and the other was George Arias. Before we get to the complexities, let's discuss the impactful entrance of the masked grappler. The lights would be dimmed as Cara came down, running through the entrance ramp, sprung from a trampoline at ringside, and directly entered the ring, leaping above the ropes. Now back to the moniker's complex stint in the Stanford-based promotion. Uribe's version of Cara was the first to debut in the company in 2011. However, less than 6 months into his run with the wrestling juggernaut, he was suspended for a wellness policy violation. That did not stop WWE from letting another performer don the Sin Cara mask and outfit. Enter George Arias, a wrestler plying his trade in the company's developmental promotion back then. The confusion was masterfully converted to a feud as both the imposter Sin Cara and the original Sin Cara fought to determine the one true owner of the character. This also led to the unmasking of the imposter version, who was forced to portray the gimmick of Hunico for an extended period. Once Uribe decided to return to Mexico, the Lucha Libre gimmick went to Arias again. He continued appearing as the Sin Cara character through 2019 until he was released from the company.
Sister Abigail!
The Fiend. Wyndham Rotunda first enchanted the masses with his Bray Wyatt gimmick and then induced them with fear with the Fiend character. The demonic entity wore a scary monster-like mask. His entrance theme was eerie, and his entrance to the ring saw the arena dipped in a terrifying red light. He tortured his adversaries by appearing out of nowhere and engulfing them in his diabolical grasp. The frightening thing about this character was that it featured another playful personality wherein Bray Wyatt played himself. He would confront the Fiend's enemies in his uberly popular Firefly Funhouse segment every week on WWE programming, while his alter ego decimated opponents with ease, even going on to win the WWE Universal Championship in 2019. The sinister masked persona would have horrified the audience for many more years were it not for Wyatt's shocking release from the company and his untimely death. Kalisto. Another one of WWE's long list of masked lucha libre performers, Kalisto debuted in NXT in 2013. Shortly after, he paired himself with fellow Mexican high flyer Sinara as part of the tag team Lucha Dragons. It wasn't until 2015 that he made his first appearance on the main roster. Once in the big leagues, Kalisto went on to win the United States Championship twice and the Cruiserweight title once. His high-risk, high-reward style of wrestling made him an instant fan favorite. The Chicago native formed the Lucha House Party along with Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado in 2018. The trio continued their association for almost 2 years before going their separate ways in 2020. However, Kalisto's singles journey ended abruptly when he was released from his WWE contract in 2021. Patriot. When Bret the Hitman Hart launched his anti-American Hart Foundation in 1997, a masked character with nationalistic American values stepped up against him. The Patriot wore a face covering and ring attire heavily inspired by the American national flag and would come down the entrance ramp to the tunes of, you guessed it right, patriotic music. He bested his Canadian adversary with an unexpected assist from Shawn Michaels during their first clash. The Patriot went further when he challenged Hart for his WWE title the next time. However, he came up short as the experienced grappler got the better of him. As brilliant as his gimmick worked in the initial days, its charm faded equally quickly, as he failed to get over with the fans in the long term. As a result, the Patriot was released from his WWE contract in 1998.
Hi, I'm the Blue Blazer, and I love to fly high, but one thing that brings
Blue Blazer. Long before the Hurricane took up WWE superhero duties, the fans had another savior in the ilk of the Blue Blazer. The man behind the mask, Owen Hart, was not paired with his brother Bret Hart when he first entered the WWE in 1988. Instead, he donned a blue bodysuit and a blue and white full face mask to perform as the superhero known as the Blue Blazer. Although Hart's initial run with the gimmick lasted only a year, he left an indelible mark in the audience's hearts. That is precisely why he decided to bring back the superhuman persona in 1998, after a successful stint with his brother as part of the Hart Foundation. The return of the Blazer character immediately followed Hart's absence from the roster. He went to great lengths to prove that it wasn't his face behind the mask, even though it was evident that it was Hart all along. Sadly, his second stint as the masked sensation was cut short due to his untimely death, which was caused by a horrific accident that occurred when he was entering the ring in a zipline in the 1998 Over the Edge PPV.
619.
Marvelous verdict. These masked individuals are a big part of wrestling folklore and make the world of professional wrestling much more intriguing. The aura accompanying a masked wrestler is largely unmatched, making it difficult for a regular performer to outshine them. Moreover, the face covering always keeps the fans guessing about a grappler's intentions. Over the years, many legendary masked superstars have dazzled the WWE ring with their impeccable performances. It'll be interesting to see if another masked performer appears on the wrestling landscape soon.